This is EDAD 6316 online, Module 3, Chapter 5. The textbook is Data Analysis for Continuous School Improvement, 3rd edition, by Victoria L. Bernhardt. Chapter 5. How are our students doing? Student learning data. Student learning data show us whether our school is meeting the needs of all of our students or just some of them. By looking at student learning data, we can uncover areas of strengths in learning and areas that need improvement. 3 types of assessment that are discussed are assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. You can read more about assessment by reading the information in the box on page 53. Assessment for learning helps you gain insight into what students understand in order to plan and guide instruction and provide helpful feedback to students. As a teacher, you are constantly assessing using many different processes so that you can know whether to change your instruction, what kind of feedback you need to give, and how you should plan for the next lesson. Assessment as learning gives students more responsibility in their learning process. Students need to know and understand how they learn best so that they can use that information to help them learn. Assessment of learning gives the school community the results of achievement at a certain point in time. Schools can use those results to celebrate success, plan interventions, and support the continuous learning progress of students. For more in-depth information on these 3 kinds of assessment, read through the highlighted box on page 53. There are different types of assessments for learning. Teachers and schools use a variety of these assessments. Classroom assessment, diagnostic test, formative assessment, progress monitoring assessments, and screeners are all types of assessments of learning. These assessments are generally in-class measures used to help teachers determine whether to modify instruction or plan additional instruction. These assessments generally happen during the learning rather than at the end of learning. You can read more detailed information on page 54. Students are more actively engaged in these assessments. This is not multiple choice, choose and answer. These assessments require students to generate a response or write or use a rubric, and they must monitor their own learning. Teachers provide rubrics and give feedback, but the learner takes more responsibility for his or her own learning. These are not in the class assessments. Your assessment of learning for your master's coursework in preparation of obtaining your principal's certification is the Texas Principal Exam. Look at the word parts to help you remember the definition of summative assessments. The sum is the end product. You can think of formative assessment as a teacher as for me. These assessments are to help the teacher modify teaching and learning activities during the learning process to improve student attainment. So here you are trying to diagnose the learning needs of the student. See page 58 for a look at the normal curve. In education, we should not aim for a normal curve. We want all students to learn what we teach. If we do that, we should see more success than with a normal curve. This is a good figure to use to review standardized test score terms. You are not required to memorize these terms. This is a helpful figure for reviewing terms related to analyzing student achievement results. You are not required to memorize these terms. You might want to review validity and reliability. You should have learned these definitions during your research course. This is a good way to refresh your memory. Think about this. How does your school assess student learning? Why do you think your school chooses to do this? Do you think the approaches used at your school are appropriate? Why or why not? Who should know the student learning data of a school? Why? You might want to jot down notes as you think about these questions.